We were in the middle of one of our more awkward family gatherings when I got this. Linda, isn't that the gayest Christmas tree you've ever seen? My father was leaning over the arm of his wheelchair, straining the line on his oxygen tank, and whispering in my ear. He had a huge grin on his face, and what could only be described as a twinkle in his eye, and he was just like a Santa on a Christmas card. And he had a point. The tree was covered in big pink bows. I mean, a lot of big pink bows, with rhinestones sprinkled on the branches, and these weird little upside-down baby blue umbrellas hung in between the bows. Umbrellas at Christmas, I wondered if that was a Florida thing. It had been raining ever since we got there, but he was so proud of that tree, and for him, it must have felt downright jolly. It hadn't been that long since he came out, about 6 years by then. He was 50 at the time, and I was 25, but honestly, it was no big surprise. My brother and I had been gathering clues like breadcrumbs in the forest for most of our lives, and by the time we were in high school, we knew. I knew when I was 7 that my parents had a secret. But it was one of those conversations we never had, so I was left to my own imagination. And when I realized that the big, bad thing was that my father was gay, I was relieved. I mean, okay, so I wasn't adopted, and he wasn't in the mafia. Phew! But at the time of this Christmas, my mother was still pretty angry, and my brother was still pretty confused. So there we were, awkwardly gathered around the gayest Christmas tree, there because we all knew that this would be Dad's last Christmas. My father loved Christmas. He went decoration crazy every year, and Dickens was his favorite author. And I kind of think that he must have loved the end of A Christmas Carol when Scrooge flings open the windows and comes out of his funk. But I had to wonder if all those years when we were kids and he would demonstrate how to hang just the right size clump of that tacky silver tinsel on each and every branch, he wasn't really dreaming of a tree like this one, with big pink bows and weird baby blue umbrellas. This tree was decorated with the help of his young, handsome partner, Mark, whom my mother insisted on calling his caregiver. I let her slide because Mark really did seem to care. My brother said, I think he just likes Dad's money. And I said, you know what? Life is full of trade-offs. And Mark really was kind. They had settled into a domestic routine that was familiar and a little alien in my father's Florida condo, which was a pastel cliche. They actually had a lavender leather couch, like this big curved sectional, and a powder blue powder room. And the place was littered with pictures of my brother and me. Also shots of Dad with what my mom called his new Florida friends. They all looked so happy and close, and I have to admit, since I couldn't be there to take care of them, I was really glad those Florida friends were. My father had come out with a vengeance, determined to make up for lost time. It was the early 80s, at the height of what was called the AIDS epidemic by the press, a plague by those in the midst of it. It was long before any talk of a cure or even drug cocktails. Desperation shrouded the stricken. But that didn't kill my father's buzz. He was out, and he was liberated, and maybe ready, finally free to be who he really was. But his liberation was short-lived. Soon he had the telltale liver-colored spots on his arms and neck. He was dying of a lung disease complicated by AIDS. And by the time he was 57, he would be gone. But he went out an honest man. If there's any such thing as paying dues in this life, my father certainly had. The path to the gayest Christmas tree had included an affair with another man when I was 7, immediately followed by time in a mental institution, complete with shock treatment, the going cure for gayness in 1961, and of course the alienation of most of my big Italian family. But through it all, he did his duty as the dad, he and my mother opting to build that closet rather than lives based on reality. I learned how to lie, my brother learned resentment, we rolled merrily along until Dad hit 50, and then it was kids out of college, check. Wife with a good job, check. Teacher's pension kicking in, check. Mission accomplished, time to live. And soon enough, time to die. When he passed, my mom and I went to clean out the Florida condo. I found lots of pictures and family memorabilia, but I wanted something to help me remember him as he finally was, a happy, gay man. I found the box of Christmas decorations, and I pulled out a big pink bow, a little wrinkled now, and a weird baby blue umbrella, and tucked them in my bag. Thank you.